We're going to look at importing some data into Google Sheets and then being able to create some graphs from it. We have kind of three different types of data here. So this first data has one column of numbers, a second column of numbers, and there is a tab between the two columns. So this is tab separated. The second one, it's the same numbers, but we have comma and a single space separating them. And this third data set, we just have a single space separating the two columns of numbers. So this would kind of represent maybe times and sensor readings. Arduino and Raspberry Pi a lot of times will give stuff back in this format. But all three of these are kind of common formats that you all will see. With data. So what we're going to do is we're going to import them into Google Sheets and then graph it. So close these out. Let's open up Google Sheets real quick. See, Sheets. Okay, so say we got a blank workbook or blank spreadsheet. How we import data, we go File, Import, and it's going to ask me what file do you want to deal with. I'm going to upload the files because right now they're stored on my computer. And let's do the tab separated stuff. So let's do trial data 1. Just toss it in there. Now, we can detect automatically, or we can tell it to look for tabs, or we can tell it to look for commas. Let's try just detect automatically. So this is the data separated by tabs. If we just tell it to detect it automatically, it pulls it on in, no problem. Let's see if we went and did the same thing. So let's say we go File, Import. Let's say we upload the same data set I was dealing with, the trial data 1 where it's separated by tabs. And let's tell it to look for tab separators. And import the data. And we open, and we can see it imports correctly. Let's see what happens if we use the wrong type, just to kind of see what could go wrong there. So here is, oops. All right, so here's one of these. These both have been imported successfully. Didn't mean to close it all the way out. Let's go back into it. And let's see if we do one where we put the wrong data type. So let's say we want to go File, Import. Still dealing with our tab data. So still dealing with our trial data 1 was the tab separated. And let's see what happens if we accidentally tell it comma in import. Then we just kind of get a weird mess where they're kind of there, but it's not really how we want it to. So let's import it correctly. And let's just use the auto detect since that seems detect automatically. Seems to work fine with tabs separated, and gotta open it. So here's our trial data 1. If y'all want to graph this, just select around your material, go to Insert, go to Chart, and this is what that graph looks like. So that's how we can deal with data separated by tabs. And we saw if you chose like commas and it's tab separated, it doesn't pull it in correctly. So let's look at importing a couple other things. Say we go File, Import, and let's use the second one. The second one was separated by commas. So let's drop it off there. And we can either tell it with comma, detect automatically seems to work pretty good. Give it a second, let me open that. And hey, it imported it all in correctly, it detected it automatically. If it's tab separated or comma separated, Sheets can figure it out usually. Same data, same chart, so everything's looking good there. The final one, oh yeah, and I could have imported it by telling it separated by commas. Again, the trial data 2 that had a comma in between it. So instead of telling it, I just had it auto-detect to pull it in, but I could have told it to look for commas as a separator, and it would have pulled it in correctly as well. Let's try importing the final one. So this is the one where we had a single space, trial data 3, just had a single space between our stuff. If we open it up to look, it's just first column, single space, second column. If we tell it detect automatically and import the data and take a look at what we get back, oh, it found it out perfectly there too. I had an issue where it, when I was writing some Python code earlier where it wasn't able to detect it. Let's try doing it one other way. So let's say we import the data. We could also, it's not, we're importing trial data 3. So that's the one that's separated by a single space bar. It's not, we're detecting automatically. We said that worked that time. But if we said, you know, this is a single space is not a tab, it's not a comma, but we could go to custom, click our bar in there and press the space bar once, and then click import data, and it's going to look for a single space bar as the separator. And let's see if that pulls it in correctly as well. So you can actually, with these things, you can actually go to custom and you can type anything you want in there. Just for, I guess to show you one other thing, let's say that we put a, well, we'll just leave it at that. That's pretty good. You could use other stuff if there was like a plus separating between them or an equals. There probably is a way of getting that with the custom to work. But the three kind of common data types that information from sensors or electronics or Arduino or Python or LabVIEW, usually the columns are separated by tabs, or they're separated by commas, or they're separated by single spaces. Those are kind of the three default types, and that's how you import them into Sheets, and then you can build a simple chart once you have it imported in there, and we'll go from there.